Not too bad. Could be a whole lot better though. You know, when it comes to bow hunting, there's no substitution for year-round practice and a lot of experience. On this episode of Homegrown Experience, we join our very own Glenn Eilers, and he shares some of his best moments in bow hunting and some of his worst. Check it out. I hope you like it.
It's the opening day of deer season. To me, the opening day of deer season is the pinnacle of pretty much everything that I do. You know, building bows, sighting in bows, all these activities lead up to this one day that is opening day of deer season every year. It's like I say, it's a great fun time. Everybody involved is getting together, and a lot of times we'll kind of have some bow shooting competitions, do some last minute tweaking if need be. You know, shoot our bows at some 3D targets.
Oh, that's better. I double long. I like it. That's even better.
What did you say that second one? That was 27 or 28?
Almost 28. Yeah.
Like I say, a lot of times we make a little friendly competition out of it.
Wait for the purple.
You got to shoot him in the heart for the bullet.
Pretty much. And it's like, regardless of angle.
Hard and tight to the trees.
No.
You know, have lunch, snacks.
You weren't kidding. This stuff's really good. I don't know what it is. What is it?
I don't know what it is.
It's delicious though.
And everybody's just talking about that hunt and looking with anticipation to going out that night for that hunt, for the first hunt of the year. The deer that we're after got the name Stickers, obviously because the configuration of his rack, he's got some kind of sticker points on there. And he's a deer that pretty much has lived on the farm in the same general area his entire life. And he's one of those deer that, you know, you kept, maybe he'll make a jump next year, maybe he'll make a jump next year, and you kind of keep letting him live, and he's got to the point now where I think he's 7 or 8 years old, and he's never really made that explosion like we like to see, but with that, he's got a huge body. I mean, he's very well fed, got excellent habitat, so his body is tremendous. He looks like a cow. And he's got a very nice massy rack, which is, I mean, to me, the trophy to me really is more the age, and this is a truly mature whitetail versus the, you know, necessarily how many inches he grows. So, but he's a very, very fully mature whitetail who's seen everything. He's seen every activity on this farm for the last 7 years, so he knows us probably better than we know him. Okay, so first night we go out, we go after Stickers. And we have a lot of activity. You know, we have lots of does come in to the camera site, kind of work through, graze through, come in and out, have some younger bucks come in. They eat for a little while, then they move on. Well, they're getting really, really close to dark. We see Stickers come in, and really not from where we expected. He came in from actually straight out from us, which was not what we were expecting. he slowly but surely, he made his way down. And unfortunately, by the time he gets to us, there's just not enough light to actually film it. So we got to watch him, and we got to watch him come in, and we just watched him basically until we didn't have enough light to see him anymore. And then unfortunately we had to let him go and make a plan to try to come back another time and hopefully have a little bit more light. So, you know, going out the next night, after seeing him the first night, you know, right there at that borderline time, I mean, obviously plenty of time like to shoot him and kill him, but filming wise, it was not enough light. So, of course, we checked the cameras and everything, and he was there, he came back. And so we have a feeling that since he was there essentially late at night or very early, right before daylight, that he probably bedded somewhere nearby. So the hope was that maybe he bedded close enough to where he'd make an appearance a little bit earlier that night. So we get in the blind, we set up and we wait, and lo and behold, he was out way before we expected him to come out. He was out very, very early. So as a bow hunter, you know, ideally everything works out like it should. You make execute a perfect shot, everything works out. But I think everybody who's ever bow hunted, me included, everybody I know included, fortunately not too many times, but it does happen where you make a poor shot. It could be maybe the angle was wrong, maybe you just, the nerves took over, buck fever, whatever, but you just shank one. And it happens to the best of us, it happens to everybody, and anybody who tells you hadn't is probably telling you a lie. It just happens. So one that still haunts me to this day is a deer that just this past year we were hunting, and phenomenal deer. We're setting up in a ground blind, kind of in a barn. It's kind of a unique little setup here because of this valley this deer's coming out of. Beautiful night, everything's right. We have some little bucks come in, they come into the camera, they work through, they play with each other, you know how they do. They run each other off and run around. They all kind of disappear. I'm like, oh, what's up? You know, it's like, what happened? You know how they do, they act funny. And then we look up and see at the back of this draw, here he pops out. He's got the velvet hanging off. It's like, okay, I've arrived, and everybody knows the king has arrived. And he slowly makes his way in, and he's like, all right, it's gonna happen, it's here. And it's one of those situations where you almost, you know, count your chickens before they hatch. You know, as much bow shooting as I do, practicing I do, I mean, I probably shoot, leading up to season, I'm probably shooting at least 100 arrows a night. You know, I mean, shooting Robin Hoods, but That's in a controlled environment. You go sitting in a blind and you have a giant deer standing in front of you and you're sitting in a chair and you're like, all those other factors factor in. Unfortunately, I pulled the shot and yanked the shot. Simple shot, made it 1,000 times in the past, but 30 yards standing broadside, doinked this deer right in the shoulder blade, and he ran off and has never been seen again. And he ran out of my life, and it still haunts me every day, and it inspires me to try to do better and to practice more and eliminate any of those things I can control. I mean, everybody says, 10 ring, shoot him right in the heart. Which, that's a great shot. Don't get me wrong, that is a great shot. If you can shoot one right to the heart, it will not go very far.
I'm gonna quit messing with that. I'm not really gonna do that.
You happy?
No, that's not. I was just hard shooting. That's not where I want to shoot. Here's where you're actually.
Oh, I didn't.
Here's where you actually want to shoot one.
But that heart is kind of in a corner, which brings in a whole lot of other structure. Leg bones, 7 bones, shoulder blades, all these things that can affect the flight of your arrows.
Right there. It's the center punching.
The lungs are very, very fatal as well. You pop both bags, there's not anything in this world who can live through that. So it's a much bigger target. It's a little further back. It's just rib bones. There's no major structure there. And truthfully, a lot of deer I've shot through the lungs, it zips through so fast, a lot of times they don't even realize they're hit.
There's too much structure down here, That's actually the opposite way. There's too much structure down here. You got shoulder blade, you got the leg bone, all that. The lungs are the biggest vital organ in there. Just shoot them right through the lungs.
Not always, but I tend to try to consciously make myself, when I draw back now, I'm like, okay, don't get greedy. He kind of came out to the area that we wanted to shoot him, and like they inevitably do, he's just not facing the right way. So he quartered to what seemed like, goodness, it was probably 10, 15 minutes, but it seems like an eternity when you have that deer at 25, 30 yards in perfect range, but just not angled right for a good ethical shot. So instead of watching him, and he'd look up and he looked around, he'd look out towards the road. He was perfectly intent at the angle he was standing at, and truthfully, he was old and probably knew. We sat there and watched him forever and ever and ever with some other deer. Finally, I don't know what got into him, but he decided he wanted to turn a little bit. So he repositioned himself and turned and gave us a really good angle. He was actually looking the other way, so he had really no clue what was going on. So he was looking the other way, took that opportunity, drew, didn't alert him at all, settled on a good spot, confirmed that we had everything ready to go, and then
He smoked it. I thought he was trying to. Dude, I cheated. I said, pull back. I'm trying to put it in the pocket. I said, pull back. Toast.
So we make the shot, got on film, we reviewed the footage just to make sure. It looked like a beautiful shot. But if you got a camera there, you want to look and watch it over and over again. So we go back, look through the footage. It's a perfectly ideal shot. So we know this deer hasn't really gone very far. He's probably right in this thicket. Of course, call Todd and let him know, hey, we just shot stickers. And so he said, I'm on my way. So we get down out of the blind. He looks at the footage too. It's like, yep, he's gone. So kind of start walking through the woods, find that first blood where he entered the thicket. And then from there, you got all the vegetation, you start following spots. And we probably went, 40 yards or so and look up and
See a big old rack with a white belly right there.
You see a big old rack and a big old white belly right there laying in the thicket, and that's what it all comes to. That's where it hits you, and it kind of overcomes you. Like, there he is. So you rush up, and put your hands on him. And that's where it all really pays off. To realize this deer, you know, 7.5-year-old deer, I think, finally met his match, and you finally had a good life, and now you're standing over a great harvest and with your buddies, and realize you captured it on film forever. So it really, it's just special. It really is special.